What up? What it do? What it don't? Welcome back. I already filmed this episode. That's what happened. I already filmed this episode, man. And I had some horrific audio issues that seemingly could not be fixed. And I've been super busy lately. I've been crazy busy lately with work, which I'm super grateful for. And coaching's been busy. Everything's just been busy, So grateful for it. Grateful for it. But nevertheless, been busy. So we didn't get an episode out last week. This will not be a common occurrence. I don't plan on it happening ever again. It was a bit circumstantial. So is what it is. But welcome back. Here we are. Rocking out. So yeah, man, it's been crazy. Life's been crazy. Work's been crazy. Everything's been good though. Like we've been rocking out, steady, growing, grinding. You know the deal. My sister was here recently. Got to hang out with her. Everything's been good. Life is changing. I've got a lot of changes coming up. Got a lot of just stuff going on in general. But it's awesome. It's all good stuff. And I'm excited for my life in general right now. A lot going on, but I love it. So, yeah, man, I'm gonna redo pretty much everything I already talked about once that y'all didn't get to hear. But you gotta listen, man. You gotta listen. This is gonna be a pretty wild episode. So, first, before we get started, just know that we still have the Pivot GPA giveaway going on. We'll give it away at 100 subscribers. You get a free 100 subscribers. You'll get a free shirt and a hat or some shorts or something of your choice. Give me your sizing. Pick them randomly out of the 100. And you can land some free stuff from a really cool company and really quality clothing and good stuff in general too. So good people too. So yeah, man, that's still going on. Do me a favor. I put a lot of time into the podcast in general. It takes a while to set all the stuff up. It takes a while to edit the videos, upload the videos, do my caption, everything. I do everything myself. All the production I do myself. All the editing I do myself. All the podcasting I do myself. All the ideas and bits and everything that we've done, I've done myself. So, man, a like goes a long way. Subscribe. And if you enjoy the content in general, man, show some support, drop a comment. But I've got some stuff for y'all today, and I'll kick it off with this story that I kicked it off with last time that y'all didn't get to hear, but you're gonna get to hear this time around. And I've got an interesting proposition for everyone listening. So, like I said, my sister was in town, and it was nice getting to hang out with her a little bit. And there was a night that me and my sister and my girlfriend all went out. I took them to a place that I looked up, and it was considered fine dining. So, what do you expect with fine dining? Good food, quality service, And now, coming from the service industry myself, I'm never going to treat anyone in the service industry poorly. I never want to hurt anybody's business. I'm never trying to dig in anybody's pockets, bro. That's just not how I roll. That being said, I'm not going to name the place, but it was the strangest dining experience that I've had in a long time. The waitress was so aggressive. She just looked like she would much rather be talking to a pack of Marlboro Lights than talking to us, She was aggressive, man. In your face kind of lady. She looked like she was probably in her 50s or so. And man, hey, I respect the hustle. You getting it. You got to do what you got to do. Make that money, girl. I'm never going to, and that's another thing, man. A server's bad. I'm never going to short the tip. I always tip 20% minimum. I think that's required. I usually try to tip more than that, especially if the service is good. And so I'm never gonna like I said, I'm not trying to dig in nobody's pockets, but man, she sucked, bro. Dude, she was so rude. Bad service, right? But wow, did the food suck too? Dude, I felt gross. And like your boy could put away some food. I could knock out 2 Five Guys burgers, and honestly, probably like a medium or a large fry from Five Guys. I don't know, large fries pushing it, because that's like a bag of fries. If you have Five Guys fries, you know what to do. You get a small fry because that's a large fry anywhere else. You get a medium fry, you're pushing it. You get a large fry, out of your mind. my 600-pound life. Um, but I could put away some food. This dude, that food sucked, bro. That food sucked. And now they have like $40 and $50 plates on their menu. You know, you expect like some quality for sure out of a joint like that. That place was bad. Now that part of the night was whatever, dude. Sometimes you go out and you hit a dud. You just don't go back to the restaurant, right? And it won't. Here's where things get interesting. I was like, the three of us were out. My sister's not in town a whole lot. So I was like, hey, man, me and my sister, we're like best friends. I've got my lady with me. I'm like, hey, man, you know what? We'll make this better. We'll cleanse your mental palate and your actual palate. We'll be getting some ice cream, Let's get some ice cream. So I take him to the ice cream shop there in Carrollton, Georgia, right on the square. We go in, and me and my sister are just laughing, bro. We're laughing about something stupid. And, we're probably being loud. It's not like ever my intention to be loud, but sometimes I am on accident. My sister afterwards, she told me, she's like, sometimes I don't think you know your volume level. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I don't think I'm a super loud person, but hey, man, when I talk, put some bass in my voice. So I guess we were probably being a little loud. But nevertheless, we're just having fun, man. We're having fun. And to be fair, if I think I've talked about this on here before, I'm a sober person, right? Like I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm a sober person, so it's not like I'm under the influence of and just acting like a jackass. That's not what I do. I've got a little volume to me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And we're just laughing, having a good time. Um, and there's a dude that like he turns around, we're laughing, and this dude's standing on the little the little mini ice cream bar, if you will. He's standing up on there looking at his ice cream, and he just like rotates his head full exorcist style and is like staring at me. I'm like, all right, it is what it is. And I didn't really notice it much at first, but then he did it again. And I was like, all right, he's being weird. I don't think I like his energy. But whatever, do your thing, buddy. Just get your ice cream, move on. So I'm up there ordering, and my sister tells me apparently he's over there to the right, like to the right of me is the whole checkout area. And I guess he's over there just giving me the up down, you know what I mean? Top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, which usually I feel a gaze. I feel the eyeballs on me. This time around, I did not. I didn't even know he was looking at me. And my sister was like chuckling and stuff, and I didn't know what was going on. And I turned to my right, and I'm going to go pay now. And this guy is staring at me. I'm talking like locked in. So I look at him. He clearly wants me to address him. And I look at him, and I do the typical, the little head, just a little nod, like what's to feel it out. What's going on here? He doesn't say anything. He just keeps staring. So I'm like, "Hey man, what's your problem? Like, are you good? Yeah, all right." And he comes up to me and then as soon as he opens his mouth, I can tell he's pretty drunk. And I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go." And he said, "Are you?" The way he put it, he said, "Are you up here or something?" And I think he meant to say, "Are you high?" I don't know. I think that's what he meant to say. But he went, "Are you up here?" and wiggled his little hand up in the air. And I was like, "No, what are you talking about? Like what?" And I'm like, "Are you all right? Like, are you good? What's the issue?" And he said something about. Oh, he said, you look like. Let me give you a little context here. Before he insults my outfit, right? Because that's what he's about to do. A little context of what I have on. Got a nice pair of boots on. All right, some plaid pants, drippy, right? And a nice button-up shirt, hat. I just got my. Bro, looks good. All right, got fitted up. I'm out with my lady, bro. I'm out with my lady. It was actually our anniversary, and I'm out with my sister. Hey man, we went to a nice dinner. I'm gonna get fitted up. Now that being said, I'm in Georgia. And if you even look at what I have on right now, I can only imagine the amount of country boys that would be Oh, I'm sorry, that sounded mean. I'm not like the country boys. I've got a lot of friends that are like country boys, real country boys, the ones that work with their hands, the ones that they do almost nothing without a dip in their mouth, and just love a good light beer. I've got friends like that, good friends like that, that are great people and very non-judgmental and very kind people, good people in their heart. I've got a lot of friends that way. Shoot, I graduated high school in South Georgia, man. Tons of friends like that that are good people. My best friend in the world, man, when he starts getting pissed off, he starts spinning that country accent a little bit. He starts getting mad. And he goes, "Hey, boy," I'm like, "Dang, son." That runs deep. But hey, there's nothing wrong with being a country boy. My point is that there is a demographic of, and I don't like using the terminology redneck, because I think it's just another form of bigotry and speaking down about a particular demographic for the way that they think, act, dress, whatever it may be. But there's a group that might be categorized in that group that don't like my style, because hey, man, I don't dress very country. I'm not from here. I grew up on the West Coast. I grew up in Texas. I spent a little bit of time overseas when I was a kid. So I just don't have I don't have like a certain pocket of the U.S. type of style. I haven't. It's very much my own thing. I've got the tattoos. I've got the earrings and stuff, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of guys in that demographic that don't particularly like that, and that's okay. But he felt the need to express that. So back to the insult. I had a nice outfit on. And hey, man, I feel my lady's eyes on me. She liked the way I look, man. Why you think I put it on? All right. I feel his eyes on me, and I can't differentiate the two if he liked it a little bit too much or if he hated it. So the way he decided to express it is that he hated it, and he said something. He said, hey man, he's like, you look like you were out of the U.S. Open." He's fumbling through this, mind you. He looked like you're out of the U.S. Open in 1942. I'm not a golf guy, so I didn't realize that that's a golf reference until we got back home. Because I was thinking about the insult. I'm like, "What's the U.S. Open?" And like I kind of knew. I'm sure like I knew that with if that was said within context, I would have understood. But not a golf guy, so okay, U.S. Open. Wait, what? I thought he meant like USSR or something. Like I thought he was calling me a sailor. I was like, I'm so confused. So the insult was, he didn't look at me. He was like, "You look like shit." He didn't say that, because then I'd have been like, "Hey man, you have camo Crocs and socks on, white socks at that." So we could have done that, but he said something really confusing. I was like, huh? What? The U.S. Open in 1940? So his insult. I appreciate he tried to get creative. I can appreciate that, but his drunken stupor didn't quite let him articulate it, I think, in the way that he meant to. Nor did it come off as insulting as I think he meant it to. It missed a little bit, and I was just, huh? What are you talking about? And he kind of shrugged it off and like walks outside. He had a lady with him and this little kid too, which is embarrassing, man. That's so embarrassing. But then they go walking out, and I'm like looking at the staff there, and I'm like, "Yo, and there's a bunch of 16-year-olds are working." I'm like, "I'm sorry. I don't know what the deal is about someone trying to start beef in your ice cream shop, but hey, man, sorry about that, guys, because they looked so uncomfortable. Like, here's your ice cream, and I'm like, it's cool, but I don't know what the deal. I don't know what the deal was. My girlfriend, clearly pretty pissed off. She's very sweet and obviously pretty protective, but also not like your social butterfly. She's not a very loud person, so those situations clearly make her uncomfortable. That's the only part that was really bothering me, is I could tell she was uncomfortable. My sister's like kind of laughing, and it was just weird. So we walk outside, start walking down the street, heading to the car. What do you know? Him and his little group. And his little group consists of him, uh, the woman that was with him, the child, who couldn't have been more than 3 or 4 years old, and then this very thin gentleman. Uh, let me put this in perspective right now, right? The fellow that felt the need to come at me in an aggressive fashion was 33 years old, is my guess. He's somewhere in his early 30s, probably mid 30s, maybe. About my height, about 5'7", about my height. 230, not holding it well. You know what I'm saying? That's a Michelob Ultra 230, and so he probably about had 10 pounds on me, but we carry it a little different, me and him. So the whole all the insults and stuff he's spinning, I don't know what the point was, and I think I'm kind of getting to that. But he's your little collared shirts with a little dog on them, Southern Vacation or Southern Therapy, whatever it's called. He's got one of them on. He's got the chubby shorts, the camo socks and Crocs, and whatever netback hat he could find. Blonde hair, blue eyes, I believe, and just was you know, just a chunky little chipmunk, And his friend, he couldn't be more than a $130, $140, And we go walking past him, and I'm looking at the guy that was running his mouth, and his friend goes, "Hey, you were laughing at my kid, man." What? Laughing at your So what had happened? By the time that he walked out, I finished paying for our ice cream, and we're walking back to the car. He has told this guy, "Hey, there is a guy that looks like he was from the U.S. Open in 1942 in there with two beautiful women, and he was laughing at your kid." That's what this, uh, mind you, drunken fool told his buddy, right? His buddy's clearly pretty sober, and he's like, "You laughing at my kid, man?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" And at this point, I'm annoyed now. Like, I'm officially annoyed. What happened in the ice cream shop, I thought it was pretty comical, but now I'm annoyed, because now you're trying to start stuff, and like what a middle school play, right? Let me go tell my buddy he was laughing at. Come on, dude. And and I was like, "Hey man, me and my sister and my girlfriend, we're all laughing together. We are having a hoot. We're enjoying ourselves. We are laughing together. Has nothing to do with you." And immediately the guy that insisted I was laughing at his kid changed his tune and was, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. Hey, it's all good." Sticks his hand out there to shake my hand, and I'm like, "What's your buddy's problem? Like, what is the deal here? What is going on?" And he's talking it down. He said this or that, and he's trying to kind of diffuse the situation. And then, excuse my language, but let me quote you what this gentleman said to me. He looks at me and goes, "Well, you still look like a fucking douchebag." So I was like, "All right, all right." And I was like, "Okay, you know what?" And at this point, and let me put this in perspective too. I don't care what you say to me. I'm a grown man. Are you gonna hurt my feelings? I I'm good, good. If you try to physically assault me, I'm gonna defend myself. If he would have said anything sideways to my girlfriend, to my sister, that's when the anger would have spilled over. I can control myself. You're talking to me sideways, I'll control myself. I'm not gonna hurt somebody. I'm not gonna put someone in a bad situation, much less in front of my girlfriend and my sister. I'm not gonna do that. It's like I said, I'm grown. We handle things in a more mature way. And but at this point, hey man, I'm really starting to get pissed. Like, I'm annoyed, and I can just tell he's pushing the buttons, So I was like, all right, I grabbed him. My keys were in my hand along with my ice cream. I hand it to my girlfriend, hand her the keys. I was like, "Y'all go get in the car. Y'all go get in the car, and he looks at me. He goes, "What are you gonna do? Punch me in the face?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the idea, you know. Yeah, that's kind of why you think they're gonna get in the car." But of course, my girlfriend grabs me. My sister, actually, my sister looks at him. She's like, "Hey, what are you drunk?" and he's like, "No." I'm like, dude's drunk. If he's not drunk, he's on something. But he was definitely drunk. I've seen it enough in my life to know. And and my girl's just like, no, come on, just forget. But like, what's the point? Why would you, you know, it's not much of a fight. And and so we started kind of making our separate ways, right? He's walking away, we're walking away, and he's kind of snickering or whatever, walking away. And it's just it, it was just a weird situation. So here's my proposition. I'm not much for sucker punching drunk people. I'm not just gonna. If we can agree to have a scuffle and agree that hey, we're about to throw down, like let's do this, right? I'm on board. Not don't try to tempt me to hit you because all that energy that gives me is I'm gonna call the cops or I'm gonna press charges. That's the energy it gives me. If we can have a verbally binding contract where we're gonna fight, we can do that. So here's the deal. And looping back to what I said earlier in the video about, drop a like, a comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. Uh, share this. You know, let's try to get here's the thing. He's in Carrollton, Georgia, right? Now there's a chance that maybe he was out of town. He was visiting his buddy here. He felt like he could get away with it because he's out of town, but he certainly seemed like someone who was born and raised and has never left Carrollton, Georgia. So if that's the case, let's try to get the word around. My proposition is we box. He seemed very um, intrigued by the idea of me just hitting him. So if he's still interested, I would like to mutually agree to meet at a location and let's do it. Have two pair of gloves. You can borrow some of mine. The other piece of this is, hey man, you don't even gotta wear gloves. I'll wear gloves. You roll with whatever you'd like. And we can do it, Let's meet wherever that I'm not going to get jumped. Let's meet at a mutual, safe location, and let's do it. So, like I said, description was if you can imagine just your very kind of prototypical beer drinking boy. Now, here's the problem: is that fits a lot of the population here, right? But very very specific description. He had blonde hair, kind of the tip, like flippy out of the side of the hat. He had the hat on. He had the typical Southern boy attire. Camo Crocs, white socks. I know he doesn't wear the same outfit every day, probably, but I have a feeling 90% of the time he has the camo Crocs and white socks on, and blue eyes. So if this sounds like anybody 5'7", I would say 220, 230, primarily held around the waistband. And if this gentleman if we can get this message to him, and y'all want to see me box somebody, I'll put it on my YouTube, and we can do it whenever. Ready right now. And if you need a little while to hit the treadmill first, I'll give you a few weeks if you want, whatever. I'm moving eventually, so you only have so long. But I'd actually travel back for that too. So if you want a training camp, go for it. We give you time as long as we get to do it. So. That's the proposition. Try to share this video. Try to get this around this West Georgia area. Maybe somebody knows him, and maybe this video can reach him, and he'll recognize me, and he'll remember that he's like, that's that golfer from the World War II era, and he'll want to finish what he started. Do I doubt that would happen? Yes. Do I have a feeling that maybe he was just drunk, and maybe if he saw this, and then he realized what he did, that he would run back on his words real quickly? Yes, that's what I think. So I don't know. Let's try. Let's try. People are so weird. Dude, there's so many times I go through life and I'm like, there's so many cool people. I know so many cool people. I have great friends. I have great family. It just, there's a lot of cool people in my life. I keep cool people around me, but there's some weird people out there, man. There's some weird people. And, we were on the way back and we're like, I wonder how many N words that guy's used in his life or in the past week, you know? And Matt, dude, he's obviously hates people for how they look. And yeah, I can only imagine how racist that guy is. It's awful. So I'm gonna do my best to make this happen for y'all, and y'all do my best. Y'all do your best to make this happen as well. Let's find this gentleman. Let's you know let's achieve some form of justice. Let's call it social justice too, because I'm just assuming he's racist. he could be he could be just a bad drunk and a sweet guy, but I kind of doubt it. Uh, um, yeah, man. There's a reason that I don't get into physical altercations at all. Really brief story, and I try to avoid it, is because the last time it happened, I thought I killed a kid, and it's not what it sounds. Not like I got in a scrap and I cracked him so hard I thought I killed. It's not what happened. Just yet again, some dude that I was at this I was at a lake with at one of my friends' house that was nice enough to let us be at their house. Their parents were there and everything, and people were drinking, and this is when I was maybe 19. And this kid, he was like touching all these people and I've been helping this guy out all day. He was, there's almost a time he almost drank. He was swimming by himself, plastered, blackout type of drunk, swimming by himself. I'm like, you are floundering. And and he was touching on people and doing all this. And I was so annoyed at one point. I just looked at him. I was like, hey, man, don't come over here touching on me. Don't do all that. You're doing the most. So he walks right over to me, wobbles over to me, whatever, and just goes, takes two fingers, puts it on my arm. And my immediate reaction was like, crack this dude, just bang. And I held back and I didn't. And then the second reaction that I couldn't hold back on was just shoving him, right? It was just the chest pass. Get off me. And he went stumbling and flying. We're on this elevated kind of deck. It's maybe two little steps elevated. He falls, stumbles back, falls off this deck, trips, falls all the way back, and hits his head on the corner of this concrete, not concrete, of these brick steps, on the corner of these brick steps. And all of a sudden, there's a lot of blood behind his head. And he doesn't look good. And all within about, I feel like maybe about 1 full second in my mind, maybe two, that I was like, okay, so if he dies, I'm going to prison. What's the best case scenario is I don't get second degree, I get manslaughter, and then I'm gone for 8 to 10 years. I get out in 6 years in good behavior, and that means I'll be out whenever I'm 25, which means I would have still been in prison today. So that all went through my head really quickly, and I was like, okay, let's fix the situation. So we got him up, and he's drunk. Blood's thin, blood just pouring out of the back of his head. I'm like, it was intimidating. So I took over the situation and demanded some super glue, and I got. Thank God they had some super glue, and I had like a new pack of super glue. Cracked that John open, bang! I am super gluing this kid's head shut. And I used about a whole bottle of super glue on this just big like cross shape gash in the back of his head and kind of got it shut. And after that, I realized that physical altercation in general, unless you're two people that can agree, we're going to fight, and there's some sort of controlled environment that we're going to fight, we're going to duke it out, right? If you're just like getting into scraps and throwing yourself into these things, somebody gonna get hurt. Something stupid's gonna happen. You don't get locked up. I don't even want to be dude, I wouldn't even if I didn't get locked up. You know how like much of a pain being on probation is? I don't want any of that. I don't want to induce legal trouble because I can't control my temper, And I do get mad. I do get mad. I get mad sometimes. But I want to be able to control that in those situations. And thankfully in this previous situation I was able to control myself. And I think also he probably did all that because there's a buffer of me being with my girlfriend and my sister. If I'm with my best friend, he's a large human naturally, and he's there's no he doesn't do that if I'm with him. He doesn't do that if I'm by myself, probably. But he knows he has this buffer of these two ladies. They're gonna be like, "Oh, don't hit him! Don't hit him! Don't hit him! He's not worth it." And then all of a sudden, if that buffer's not there and someone talks some sense into me, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened. So, he probably has a little bit of there was that knowing that he's with two ladies. He's not going to try to finish what I'm starting. But here's my offer to finish what you're starting. Let's do it, man. Anyway, funny story for the day. That was so weird. So weird. Like I said, people are just weird sometimes. Can't imagine being that guy. Imagine being that guy's wife or girlfriend. That's what we were talking about on the way back. Like, oh, he's just a recliner dude. That's what my girl was saying. He's just in the recliner. Get me a beer. you know? Oof. Rough. Rough ways to live and even rougher to live with, I can imagine. But yeah, man. Life's been just so kind of strange sometimes lately. I don't know what's been going on, but it's been strange. But it's been fun too. Dude, just I'm so grateful. Thank you to everybody. If you're listening to this and you're a client of mine, if you're listening to this and you support my business in some way, if you're listening to this and you bought stuff from Pivot with my code, like, dude, shout out to all y'all. There's been a lot of love lately, and I'm greatly appreciative for all of that. I know that my presence and stuff online and through social media, all that stuff will continue to grow. I'll continue to put in the legwork to make sure that happens. Even though I don't have no crazy footprint at the moment, man, there's a lot of people that show support. And of the small group of people that do follow me, that do watch the podcast and all that stuff, there's just so much support. I love you people. Y'all are so cool. Y'all are the cool people. Y'all are the cool ones. Uh, Shout out to everybody. Thank y'all. So a lot of gratitude. I've been feeling a lot of gratitude lately, man. I've got amazing people in my life. I've got amazing friends. I've got amazing family. I've got an amazing girlfriend and her whole family too. They have all been so great to me. It's just I'm super grateful. We're moving in a great direction, and I don't talk about it much on the podcast, but God is a big part of my life. Has been, especially lately, and man, it's crazy the type of positive growth that I've seen in every aspect of my life whenever I taken a step back and decided to humble myself and try to be more in touch with God and pray more and read more and study more and meditate more and take care of my spirit, man. And it's whenever I realize it's not mind, body, soul. It is soul, mind, body. Like it works that way for real. If you take care of your soul first, take care of your mind after that, and then take care of your body, your mind and your body will be no problem if you align your spirit, man. It's an incredible feeling, and it's just wild, and no one will say it, man. Everyone's scared to say it. It's sad, It sucks to see because everyone's fearful of judgment of saying that they're a Christian or because maybe Christianity has gotten such a bad rep and the way that people treat it and the way that I've seen a lot of negative concepts or actions or just really poor representations of Christianity are some of the people that scream about Christianity the loudest. I try to just live it, man. I'm not going to evangelize anybody. I'm not going to sit there and I'm just not that guy. I'm not going to sit on the corner and scream at you. I'm not going to tell you that whatever your religious practice that you decide to do that's outside of Christianity is wrong, or if you're not a Christian, you're wrong. Whatever. Everyone has their own path, man. All I'm telling you is that as a Christian myself, and as somebody who has strong faith and who's been practicing it, maybe it's been more recent in my life for sure. I can't say that I've been diligent in it my whole life. I haven't. I was very lost for a time, but as I practice it more diligently, especially lately in my life, It's a feeling like no other, man. It's a satisfaction like no other. It's unbelievable. I've never been happier in my sobriety too, that I can be completely sober and just be happy. It just be happy. Doesn't mean I don't have problems. I just realize that when those problems come up, I get to confront them now. I get to truly fix the root of whatever issue is going on. And that is a huge, huge factor in why everything is moving forward for me and why we're achieving progress. So I'm just the point is I'm grateful, and it's a very I thank God, I think everyone around me that supported me, and just the humility that's taken for me to realize that it's not just me. It's not just me, man. Self-made is only true to an extent, because God made me the way that I am to be able to execute everything that I do, and I'm very grateful for that. Uh, and how grown men in this world should conduct themselves. There are answers. There are answers that you can find. And I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I don't really know how I got on that on that subject, but it's true, man. Life's been good lately, so I just wanted to express gratitude to everybody that's showing love. Y'all are awesome, man. Y'all are awesome. We gonna keep rocking out. We gonna keep going crazy, man. I've been cutting some weight. I've been losing some weight. I feel so good. It's nice seeing some shape in my physique again. Like, dang, dude, I was feeling like a lard for a little while there. It was 220 for a little while. I was waking up about 218 or so. That's about the peak weight that I got in the morning. I was going to bed like 221, 222 sometimes, and whew, like I said, I'm 5'7", dog. Like that. That's some weight. But now I'm eating like 3,900 calories or so. And dude, I'm hungry. Like I'm hungry for my meals at 3,900 calories. That's a cool feeling. Great, great experience thus far. I've really enjoyed bodybuilding on my own, yeah, on top of coaching and doing all that stuff. I've just enjoyed it. It's been good. So I saved the questions from man, what was it? Gotta be 2 weeks ago now. It was the ones I already answered, and hopefully, since I answered them once already, maybe I'll have a more formulated answer. So let's kick it off with a good one. What are your goals, and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Which is an awesome question, man, because I love talking long-term goals. I love talking short-term goals. I have some short-term goals and I have some long-term goals. So starting with the long-term stuff is one is scale the coaching company, make it grow. One, produce a lot of quality, multiple Olympia qualified athletes, highly competitive Olympian athletes. Um, Convert everyone that I have on my roster that wants to go pro, have them go pro within that 5 year span, but scale the company itself. I am doing interviews for my first hire this coming week, so I am looking to continue to grow. Hopefully, have a team of really good coaches working for me. 5 years down the road, I'd love to have 10 plus coaches working for the company and continue coaching myself, just with maybe a little bit more limited roster at that point. A little bit higher dollar and a little bit less people coaching in general. Um, Probably just lower my cap as I continue to add coaches. Maybe, maybe not, unless it's just a very manageable load. The other is be pretty involved in real estate, and I'll kind of leave it at that. There's some stuff that I have in the works as of right now, very early phase in the work stuff, but me and my dad plan on getting some stuff working together. So I'd like to be involved in the real estate game. I would love in 5 years for this YouTube channel to be touching the maybe the 100,000 subscriber mark, but sooner would be amazing. But if we could be there in 5 years, I'd be very happy with that. Uh, that would be another big goal. Another big goal for myself is to have been on the Olympia stage, and obviously have gone pro and be pro at a high level. So that's kind of in order for me. I love bodybuilding. I love it, and I love doing it myself. I really enjoy coaching, and that's always been kind of whenever I wake up, I think about work, you know. So that's been on my mind. The real estate thing I'd really like for long term, maybe some passive income type of stuff. And yeah, scale the coaching stuff, man, to where one day I could sell the company. You know, that would be the goal is 20 years down the road, I have an exit strategy to where I can I can sell the company and keep working if I want to, but if I don't want to, don't have to. I don't want my family to ever worry about anything. I want kids, you know. I want to have kids, and you know, me and my girl plan on being married, so I want to make sure that she knows that she'd never have to work a day in her life if she don't have to. She probably always will. She has her own ambitions and goals, which I absolutely love. But hey, man, if she wanted to not, she could do that. And I'd love to be able to just give her the world, give her everything she deserves, give her everything she wants. I want everything I want to, man. I ain't gonna lie, you know. So, you know, there's a lot of different things that I want to get, but overall, I want to grow the company. That's the biggest thing there, man. And then for kids one day too, man. I want my kids to be able to have whatever they want, but I want to make good humans. You know, I want good people to make them into good people, but I don't want them to ever have to worry about anything. I don't want to be the no dad. You know, I want to be able to say yes to anything. Hey, can we go out here? Can we go to, I don't know, Puerto Rico for a weekend? Sure. You know, let's do it. That's what I'd like. Life is too short not to achieve high level stuff. That's the way I look at it. It probably sounds pretty vain to a lot of people, but I mean, it is what it is, man. Like a lot of people don't desire a lot of money. A lot of people don't desire a lot of things. A lot of people don't desire riches, all that. I probably have to be careful about not being greedy, and realizing that money's not everything, and it's not to me. I think I could live with a moderate income for my whole life and be happy, but I just desire a lot. I do. I want to be great, and I want generational wealth. I want my kids to be good for life. I want my grandkids to be good for life. I want everybody to be good for life. I've got people in my life that I want to take care of, maybe more so in a financial sense because they gave so much to me emotionally or support when I needed it, and all these little things that they have no idea how much meant to me. But my best friends, my sister, uh, all these people that have given so much to me and given me love whenever I needed it. I want to be able to return it in some way, man. Just be able to be like, yo, you good. Like, here's X, Y, or Z. You've always wanted that. Whatever, man. It's a good feeling to take care of the people around you. So that's the biggest reason I want it is be able to give back. I would love to start a nonprofit too, man. That's a big goal for me after I move is to start a nonprofit. There's a couple of things that I'm interested in the route that I'm going there, but be on the lookout for that because that's something I want to get going right after this move and getting settled in to kind of this new life a little bit is get a nonprofit going and do some work in the community and help people more directly for no there's no plan for monetary return for uh, glory or anything that comes with that. I don't even necessarily want to be on the face of that, if you will. I would love just to be able to put into action some some things to help particular demographics of people that I really feel for, especially youth in low income areas, in troubled situations. I've always thought about single moms a lot. I've got a lot of respect for single moms. And there's some other like nature preservation stuff that I'd like to be involved with too. So I'll decide what route I want to go and settle that in more whenever I do move. But that's another big goal for me there. So yeah, man, I want to be jacked, bro. I want to be jacked and tan, bro. I want to be huge, bro. Nah, but for real, I'm trying to get, especially in 5 years, man. I should be at my peak. I believe, and keep getting better from there. But yeah, just keep growing, keep working, keep getting better, stay competitive, stay hungry. No matter wherever I'm at, just stay hungry. So, I mean, short term, that means, I gotta, one, hire my first employee. Two, actually go pro. 3, actually have an Olympia qualified athlete. 2, actually turn my athletes pro. So those are all the kind of the short term goals that go with it. But in 5 years specifically, yeah, man, all that. I'm trying to have all that. Oh, how many tattoos do you have? I think I can answer it quickly because I think I counted on camera last time and I lost all that footage. So, I think it's 7. I think it is 7. I've got my hand, this little guy, this little sword. If Emma's watching, she'll like that. This little sword, and then I've got my half sleeve. It's almost done, which is like one big piece, another big piece, and then 2 background pieces. Well, really one background piece, so it's 4, 5. I've got it bare on my left arm, and then the parallel lines on my ribs. And yeah, the follow up question was, what do they mean? That's what everyone wants to know. What do your tattoos mean? Um, what I always tell everybody to avoid that, and also I think to just like piss the old people off that hate tattoos, is go. I just like them. I just like how they look. They look cool, so I put them on my body forever. And that's not true. It's not all the way true. That's partly true for sure. I just like the way they look, and yeah, I'm gonna get a lot more. But in a quick detail, what they all represent to me. This is the only one that really doesn't mean anything. The one on my finger, the little sword, dagger. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a little sword. And the bear on my arm. I was originally, whenever I was younger, 18, 19, I want to get like animal representations for all my family, and I probably will complete that idea. But Mama Bear for my mom. Um, on my ribs, I've got those parallel lines too. It just looks like stripes, and everyone's like, "Those racing stripes? Are you in a tribe or something?" I was like, "No, to both." But it was the first tattoo I ever got. Me and my sister got together, both of our first tattoos, and they were the idea as parallel lines. They are always next to each other, but they never intersect because we always were. Um, we're always in different states. I mean, she used to live in Texas. I was living in Georgia. We're actually going to be pretty close in location for the first time in a long time, which I'm really excited about. We're both really, really excited about. But they never intersect. So it's just like we're always next to each other, even though we're not. We're always with each other, even though we're not with each other. Hold back the tears. I know it's cute, but the Oni mask on my hand. It is what it is. Is an Oni. Um, everything, all of my right forearm sleeve and my hand are all Japanese yokai, which is just creatures from Japanese mythology. I grew up obsessed with samurais, and I watched Dragon Ball Z, and I watched Sailor Moon with my sister, and like this Japanese aesthetic. We spent, like I said, a little bit of time overseas. We lived in Korea whenever I was really young, so there's a lot of like Asian influence in just my style and in what I like in culture and what I like in media, especially. So, yeah, the Oni mask was one because I mean it looks Oni masks are sick. It looks really cool, but the it's technically a Hanya mask, which is a woman originally who became so overwhelmed with jealousy that she turned into a demon. And it's just a bit of a representation of how just don't let the bad things in life kind of slip 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 you into becoming a demon. uh, but really, it's kind of from like the fact that I was always like obsessed with samurai when I was growing up. My dad gave me the Book of Five Rings and Bushido, and these books that give you a depiction of what the life was like for a samurai and how samurais are supposed to live and what is their moral code and who they are. And that just ingrained it in my head. And they used to wear half Oni masks just and right into battle. They used to strap it to their samurai helmets, and it was just an intimidation factor. And I always thought that was just really cool. So got the Oni mask on my hand. On the top, of my forearm is the Grim Reaper Death Seal from Naruto, actually. It was what Minato used to seal the nine-tail fox in Naruto. It was, and whenever it really left its impact on me, was namely design was amazing. I say it's actually a yokai because the Naruto adaptation of the Grim Reaper is really just the yokai from Japanese mythology of what the yokai version of the Grim Reaper is. They're like identical. I had no idea until I was researching later, and all of this kind of came together. Um, but that Grim Reaper Death Seal, the whole point of the jutsu itself was, whenever I first saw it, was when the third Hokage was trying to take Orochimaru's soul as he's attacking the Leaf Village, and he uses the Grim Reaper Death Seal, which essentially means that he was prepared and did sacrifice his soul to really protect the village. Was what the point was. He didn't fully capture Orochimaru's soul. If you've seen Naruto, as you know, he just got his arms. So bro couldn't use his arms, and the third Hokage died. So didn't go so well, but cool idea. And kind of that's a very like death over dishonor concept for me. And it sounds dramatic, but I would rather die than than lose myself in any sort of way. I would rather die than not be true to who I am. I'd rather die than not live my life the way that I believe it's meant to be lived. And I would gladly sacrifice for the people that I love, to protect the people that I love. I would. I would. There's a lot of people in my life that I would gladly give mine for. Yeah, I love them all that much. So, and then lastly I've got a Kirin, which is it's a mix of a dragon and a horse, kind of. It's like a dragon with hooves. And in Japanese mythology, it represents everything that's good: wisdom, strength, um, protection, all the things that you want as a good human being, right? That is what it represents. It is kind of like the yokai. It's what everyone, the protector. Everyone is enthralled and taken aback when seeing a Kirin. It's also just a beautiful description of a creature. It's very cool. It's very cool. So yeah, that's it. That's all of them. All right. Do have a couple of more to do, but I'm gonna hang it up with one more here because this is going a little bit long. We'll do the last one because I think it's the most interesting out of these to answer. Oh man, I've got two. Let me try to do this first one quickly, and then we'll get to the other one that I both of these I wanted to get to. How many reps should I do if I'm trying to build my physique over strength? So, how many reps should I do if I'm trying to train for hypertrophy, gain muscle versus just get stronger? First, let me tell you, both of them go hand in hand. If you want to get stronger, you got to build muscle. If you want to build muscle, you got to get stronger. But that being said, it's not always applicable that you have to gain muscle to gain strength. And and especially in strength programming, sometimes it's not super ideal because muscle tissue is heavy and you're trying to fit within certain weight classes. And if you're pushing the limits of those weight classes, you can still get stronger and neurologically be able to get stronger primarily and move more weight, but not necessarily gain muscle. Now, if you're trying to gain muscle, you need to be within this huge rep range of 6 to 20 reps. Okay, you got to find what works for you, man. At the end of the day, you got to find what works for you. For me, 6 to 8 rep range on my compounds. A lot of my isolation movements get pushed to about 10 to 12, and for bigger muscle groups, primarily in the smaller muscle groups, triceps, shoulders, calves, stuff like this. Just kidding, I don't train calves. I do sometimes. Those are going to be more of like the 15 to 20 rep range. That's how I've always treated it. That works well for me. Now, you got to find what works best for you for sure. 6 to 8 is pretty low for a lot of people, and a lot of people do not work in those rep ranges. There's a lot of people that work those heavy compounds, 15 to 20 reps. I've found that it just does not work for me super well. Whenever I lift heavier and am in that 6 to 8 rep range, I look fuller. My muscle looks harder. I get more tissue turnover quicker. So that's just what works well for me. I enjoy it more too, and that's probably why I see better results. Figure out what you enjoy within that rep range of 6 to 20. Your nutrition has to support you gaining weight. Gaining muscle. You need to be at least eating at maintenance calories with high protein diet or eating in a surplus to be gaining muscle. The other piece is you have to train with extreme intensity. Don't have to murder yourself with volume. You don't have to do 10 by 10s, which I am a victim of doing, by the way. I did at one point, and it's absolutely, you're just shooting crazy junk volume at one point. It is inefficient as all get out. But, sets of 2 to 3 top sets, everything you got, burn yourself down, crush yourself, give every single thing that you have, every ounce of energy, slam your foot on the gas, make every single set make you want to quit the rest of the workout. That's how hard you should go. Every single set, you should want to quit the rest of the workout. That's what you give. That's the effort that you give. That's what'll make you grow. If you're gonna be a bitch in your sets, you're gonna look like one. It's not gonna work. Some people can grow better because they have better genetics and they don't have to train as hard, and it just is what it is. If you're not that guy, even if you are that guy, dude, give it everything you got. Why are you there? Like test yourself a little bit. That's what it's about. So super high intensity, 6 to 20 rep range, smaller muscle groups, I go higher volume. Bigger muscle groups, I go a little bit lower volume. So that is kind of my key. That doesn't apply to everyone. I have some clients that we do different stuff with. I have some clients have some really high volume ranges for their compound movements. So it's not applicable across the board. Um, yeah, that's kind of my quick answer for that. As quick as I could make it. Let's hit this last one because this is the one I really want to answer because it was interesting. Have you ever thought about training in different areas of what does it say? Have you ever thought about training in different areas of lifting? So are there any other sports and weight training, if you want to call it that? There's the powerlifting, there's CrossFit, there's Olympic lifting, there's a lot of different styles. There's very like athletic style training, cross training. It's not quite CrossFit, right? Which is what I assume this question's asking. And yeah, man, yeah, I've thought of it. Yeah and no, yes and no. No, because no, I bodybuild right now. That's where my focus is. I'm not the jack of all trades guy. I'm not going to be doing a bunch of different stuff. I'm focused on this goal, so I'm going to accomplish this once I get everything I want to out of bodybuilding personally. Yeah, man, I've definitely thought about what I want to do afterwards. One, I'm gonna buy a bike and I'm gonna cycle, dude. I'm gonna be outside and I'm going to cycle. I'm gonna let them wheels spin and have a good time doing it. Um, with what I do in the weight room specifically, what would I do in weight training? This might come to as a shock to some people because I probably have never talked about it, and everyone immediately thinks powerlifting. Bodybuilding does translate to powerlifting pretty well, considering squat, bench, and deadlift tend to kind of cross over into bodybuilding and powerlifting. Powerlifting to me it's fun to watch. I love and respect powerlifting. Watching people push and pull gnarly weight, squat gnarly weight, super sick. I don't have a big interest in it though to do it personally. As far as like competitive weightlifting goes, though, hey man, I've always wanted to Olympic lift. Ain't no CrossFit, cuz I ain't Olympic lifting and doing 12 burpees. All right, I want to do Olympic lift. Um, do Olympic lifting programs. Clean and jerks and snatches and all that gnarly stuff. I would love to do it. I would love to just be able to clean and jerk 315. Like that would be so sick. I think I could probably at this point, I bet I could clean and jerk 225 with horrific technique and likely snap up my shoulders in the process. But I'd love to train some mobility stuff and crush some Olympic lifting, man. I feel like it'd be so fun. I want to just snatch gnarly weight over my head, clean and jerk gnarly weight, and just yeah, it just seems like a lot of fun. And it's so technique driven. and I respect that so much about Olympic lifting. It is an area of lifting that I'm not super experienced in. I think that's what makes me excited about it too, because it's something almost brand new to me within the sphere of weightlifting. And you still get to be kind of jacked and do it. Like that's cool. So yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do it at somewhat of a high level, even maybe compete in it one day. But I'm not too worried about that. I've got bodybuilding on my mind for now. And yeah, I'd like to graduate to maybe doing something like that. I'll probably always do some form of bodybuilding training, some hypertrophy stuff. I like to look good, I just want to like maybe keep the muscles nice and full, and maybe do some form of strict Olympic lifting and support my accessory work with some hypertrophy training and some mobility stuff too. Get a little bit more flexible and all that. So yeah, that would be what I would do. Olympic lifting is really cool. So yeah, man, that about wraps it up. Uh, Thank you for watching very much. I really enjoy doing these podcasts, and we're going to keep it rocking, man. I've had a lot of support on my solo podcast lately, a lot of support in general. And there's some people that have been watching, man. I had no idea that they were watching. So if that's one of you, thank you, man. People have been coming up and just like dapping me up and telling me they really like the content and stuff. So I appreciate that. I know the audience isn't big at the moment, and it will be, and it will be. I have faith that it will be, and I'll keep putting out good content so it'll continue to grow. But everyone that supports me right now, you're awesome. Thank you, and yet again, thank you for watching. We'll be back again next Thursday. Promise. Sorry about missing a week, but like I said, should never happen again. And I would like to maintain consistency. That's a big piece of this whole thing for me, is making sure I get an episode out every week. My audio was just completely destroyed. I couldn't use anything. So here we are again. Bang, bang, we back. Refilmed this whole episode. I said all the same stuff that I already said, but all that stuff got deleted. So here it is. Finally, y'all get to listen to this episode. Thank you so much. I will talk to y'all next week. Drop some stuff in the comments. Share this so we can find that one dude so y'all can see me box. I'll put that on my YouTube. I'm not playing. Like, if this gets to that guy and somehow I get in contact with him and he's down, dude, I hope he's down. Let's do it. So get that over to him. Share it, share it, share it. Love y'all, boy. Love y'all, boy. Love y'all, boys and ladies, too. Thank y'all for watching. So, gang. Ah! Ah! Ah!